We've done 6 games, 6 games down yesterday. We're coming into another 6 games, of course, talking about Erangel. As Mustache Dave _ go follow him on Instagram. Erangel is the majority played map in the final stages of the South Asia PMCO. So yes, it's so important that these teams grab a hold of this map, grab a hold of every position angle that they grab onto, whether it's phase 1 or phase 6, and then close out those kills and close out those shots.
Well, thank you very much, Imperium, for the breakdown, but here we go. Game number 1 of Day 2 of the finals on Erangel, as we previously just mentioned, and the plane this time going from southeast towards the central eastern part of the map towards Mansion. So far, I mean, look, if we get a northern circle, we're looking at Everest, we're looking at Georgiapol, we're looking at shooting range, very important parts of the map if it does go in that way.
So as usual, we do see Fnatic and Trusted Process landing on military base. Fnatic yesterday, they're a team that showed strengths of considerably forward-thinking play, but then they showed so many levels of inconsistencies and I suppose levels of really indecisiveness in their gameplay, and I do hope that is evolved on yesterday. But phase 1 circle, southwest, Quarry's in there, Primorsk, Gaka, and of course Everest.
Almost as if RIP could read the stars, almost like fortune tellers, because typically we see them dropping towards Pachinki. Yep. However, today they've changed things around. They had such a successful day yesterday. They've made some adjustments to their strategy, and it's really paying off in this first game. Instead, dropping towards Georgiapol, and we can see exactly where the ring is as well. We could potentially see some action towards the control of Everest and Hospital to have that high advantage point, which was paying dividends yesterday in the first game of Day 1.
Definitely. So as we see how these teams are landed right now, they're instantly looking to rotate and get into seriously decent looting areas. Fnatic, you can hear from the fans in the crowd. They are supporting and of course giving all the love to their boys Fnatic, and of course Seoul, our fan favorites indeed. Seoul, they're joining RIP up in South George. You have 0 Degree in around Roshawk with Mayhem down in school. ETG Brawlers, they're a little bit split up between inside and outside the circle by farm, and Godlike down in Milta, Nepali Honi in around Milta Power Plant, SGE in Lipovka. And Lipovka with SGE, it's going to be very important on how they rotate into the circle. Yes, right now, they have somewhat of a solid entrance going in a straight line. But based on the circle and based on how phase 1 is looking right now, I would actually recommend that they head up northwards, go around the river of Yasnai up in the north side and come out around George Paul area, even on the west coast side. But, of course, time will tell. It's still early days, Alex.
Obviously, early on into the match, we could hear the roar from the crowd, a cacophony of fans for Scouts. Yesterday having a very poor performance when compared to their expectations for this event. The high-profile signing as well with Fnatic, which actually isn't that big of an organization over here in India. Obviously, that's exactly why they made the move to try and increase their profile globally, so very smart from them. However, Imperium, why do you think they lacked so much so far in this tournament? Obviously, they managed to get through in the play-ins, very, very well. They finished, top 5 of the table. However, yesterday, we saw Scout struggling in the early portion of the game. It seemed like 4 or 5 games in a row, he went out first or second, would die constantly on his own. Even after the games as well, was getting quite animated to his teammates.
Yeah, and it's an interesting question. I do want to preface how I answer this, and even anything that I do say by saying that all of us here, in terms of whether it's the analysts, the casters, have a huge amount of respect and admiration for all of these players competing and those who compete in play-ins and even the group stage, because we all know and we are aware, we see the amount of work, the amount of time, effort and passion that these players put into the game. So anything that we critique them on, it's not to any way shut them down, it's not to in any way discourage them, it's just to give them a bit of perspective. But talking about Scout,
dodging the question. Let's hear some.
Okay.
Let's hear some
talking about
disparaging
Fnatic.
thoughts. Explain it to me. Why are they struggling? We want to hear.
It's simply
why.
a lack of teamwork and pressure. In the first, when we saw the teams come out on yesterday's pre-show, the two teams that were waving to the crowd, which is never a bad thing, was Scout and Seoul. Two of the teams that were, that were tip-top to be at the top were Scout and were Seoul and Fnatic. Therefore, Fnatic, I feel like they're letting the pressure get to them. We're seeing Fnatic not working as a team. They're being indecisive with their decisions. Scout is going on his own. He's getting knocked down, like you mentioned. He's going out. Then the rest of the team, they're kind of thinking, what the hell do we do from here? So Fnatic, what they would have done from yesterday's games is just take a deep breath, talk and communicate as a team, and set a game plan for today's games.
Mayhem, you can see towards Roshawk, currently 16th after day one. However, I wouldn't be too paranoid if I was them, considering we saw the lightning jump up for Team I&D between day one and day two of the play-ins, from 19th all the way up to 2nd when they finished just 2 days ago. So do we think we're going to be seeing a similar fare here in Imperium in terms of Gems just leapfrogging up and down the table? Or are we looking for more consistent results?
You're always looking for more consistent results, but it's never as simple as that. It's never as black and white as that. There's always going to be teams looking to fight that good fight and get up into those high point standings. But in saying that, though, there really is so many few points dividing these teams. Only 28 points divide 2nd place and 10th place, and only 35 points divide 2nd place and 13th place. That's a chicken dinner.
Just while it's on our screens, I really want to highlight a point that we spoke about yesterday.
Yeah.
I mentioned I&D, they're at Ferry Pier, they're by the lighthouse, guarding this bridge, which is basically the only entrance into the circle from military base for teams like Fnatic, potentially trust the process if they go south. And you said, day one of the finals, Team I&D maybe not going to fight for lighthouse and control the bridge. However, you said maybe later on into the finals, they might have the confidence to do that. Think we're going to see it now?
Well, yeah, of course. And when we were talking after yesterday's games, it was easy to understand that Kratos, who used to play with Scout OP and knows how he plays, knows how Fnatic like to drop. And looking back at the VODs, they'll be looking to punish Fnatic. I'm actually surprised that Fnatic landed a military base for the first game. Yes, it was on the plane trajectory, but look to mix things up. Surprise your opponents and pick somewhere different, because you've always got to have a plan B. But we are seeing the first knockdown. The Pali Honi on their rotation being called out by Godlike.
Godlike indeed. Cronton, considered the best player here from Godlike. Currently in the circle, but it's the phase 1 circle, so it's just going to be slightly damaging him so far. Nothing too hemorrhaging.
Yeah, and then now as we see the blue zone of phase 1 closing in, the teams are looking to rotate into the circle. INS already there. ETG Brawlers being a little bit more forward-thinking. Entity deciding to go for a bit of a late route, but now Nepali Honi.
Nepali Honi, NHB to be more precise, and precise he is with the sniper. Gets the knockdown onto Cronton. It was the headshot as well, but Anto, easily going to be able to revive his teammate. However, NHN has to try and get in a vehicle here, maybe cover this ground, but has some teammates here as well to rattle off the shots into the vehicles, but nothing connecting just yet. All the players there from Godlike able to scramble away scot-free, but as I say, that actually Cronton goes down to the play zone.
Now, as I say, teams are rotating in. Ripsky getting close to around Gaka area. IND moving in a little bit further away from that west bridge that you mentioned, going a little bit more towards where INS are. You have now 0 Degree going close to where Orb, ETG Brawlers, and Trust the Process are rotating.
Speaking of rotations, Imperium, so many teams have to rotate past Potato Hill. IND, INS currently controlling the ends of those rotations. We can hear some gunfights going on as well. It's going to be between Orb Official and 0 Degree. It seems like 0 Degree here from the play feed are taking the advantage here, and so they are. So yeah, up close as well. You can see it's 2 players down for both of these squads, so maybe it's far more even than we initially anticipated. But Orb Official now starting to make their charge now towards this tiny little building is all the cover they actually have right now. Mazik trying to finish off the job and collect some more points for his teams. So behind the vehicle, the only point of cover they really have as Yash goes down, so it's all down to this. Max Cash versus 2. He's up against it right now. Pasing charging in as well, the back of Asuria, and that could be it here. As Mazik on 5 HP. Here's the smoke, here's the steps. Can spot out the gun barrel as well. He's trying to make his move. Be silent here, gets down 1, but from behind the trade is there, and that's going to be it. 0 Degree, eliminate Orb Official. Game 1, out in the 16th.
Good job coming out from 0 Degree. That smoke being really key in them getting the better of that team fight against Orb Esports. I was talking to 0 Degree briefly before the game started, and first of all I said, well done and great job on the consistency you pulled out in yesterday's games, and they said, yeah, coming into today we kind of feel like we have a target on our back, so we're going to be aware of this. And I said to them, of course, be aware, but don't change how you play. Be the same way that you're playing, and that's exactly what's happened at 0 Degree, looking good.
Mayhem making their rotation from Hospital all the way down south. Seoul actually gave up control towards Everest. Imagine they're expecting this ring to go further south.
So now phase 2, Blue Zone is closing, and let's look at how these teams are looking in terms of rotations. Of course, Entity, you see on your screens, they are getting closer to where a couple of teams are on the northeast side of this circle. They're getting close to Synergy. You have 0 Degrees down the south side of them. Entity, compared to yesterday, they're playing a much more edge of circle gameplay for this first game today. And I think that's not a bad idea, especially if they're confident of the map and how they're going to play, because it's going to be a surprise.
Speaking of surprises, do you think that the adjustment from the play-ins, where it was all playing towards the outer circle, then the day 1 of the finals, everyone playing center circle, do you think teams were surprised about the amount of space that actually the outer ring of the circle really had?
Yeah, but it shouldn't be a surprise, because that's generally how the team should be playing PUBG Mobile. It should be head into the center, find a strong compound, a high ground, or with plenty of space that you can reposition, disengage, and of course engage onto your opponents and go for there as these circles close in. And talking about circles closing in, Alex, phase 3 going a bit more to the west, only a tiny bit of water, but however, look at Rip Sky and Mega Stars. Center circle, high ground, those are the two teams that the other teams have to target.
As well, we can see that this circle's almost split in half there. All the teams towards the south side, as you said, most likely because of how much open terrain there is towards Gatka. Synergy as well, going to be excited to see no one's here as they make their rotation in. Yeah,
only Drigger from INS, and if he gets a little bit ahead and can communicate, and they can respond quickly to Drigger's communication, which is what's happening, they could get the better Synergy. So I'm curious as to see how this does go down. 15 teams at 56 players left alive, 13 and a half minutes into this game as we see the members of Nepali Honi, just 3 members left standing, rotating in from the west side into the circle. It's going to be tough for them. They're putting themselves into a bad situation in whatever direction they rotate.
Yeah, Nepali Honi making very good recovery from the early exchange that they had versus Godlike. M249 there as well in the airdrop, right next to Team I&D, so maybe they want to collect that.
At this place with so many teams around them, it's going to be so hard as Mayhem pop shots towards. So do have the high ground, so they do really have a much better position. However, look at Mayhem. They have the walls, they have a little bit of a compound that they can hold onto to give them protection.
Should they contest this? Should they try and fight for this compound to give them something to use as we go into the later stages?
Where Mayhem are located right now, no, because looking at where the teams are, they can easily rotate up northwards and give them plenty of space. But Viper, they're pushing the teams around them back.
Oh, here we go. Kratos going to be eating bullets there from Viper as Viper just switches out the DP28 for the AK. However, we've lost what we were watching before, but there we can see on the peripheral vision, Kratos is down and out. Team I&D lose a player early from the fan favorites, which you could probably hear. Oh my goodness, which is so, but more players as well going down. INS Joker's out the picture. Brawlers as well are losing players like flies.
Scout OP popping off. The crowd is going wild for the 2 fan favorites. That is Soul and Fnatic. They have a new lease of life.
Oh, unfortunately though, ETG could do with a new lease of life as the Brawlers are struggling in the finals so far. Once again, it seems like another poor performance here on day 2.
So Fnatic, they find themselves in a good position, but it's going to be tough for them rotating into the next phase, into the next circle. Of course, we'll talk about that godlike. They're going a little bit further, getting away from Seoul. I like that, Alex.
Synergy chilling right now towards the top of the circle, but who isn't chilling is Entity. Jonathan versus Smokey gets the kill as well. Trigger is down there, unfortunately, for Team INS, and it seems like it's all going to go in favor of INS as Jonathan wins yet another duel. And is that INS out in 14th? It is indeed. Excuse me, 15th. Apologies. But still, the remark stands the test of time. They are out early.
So we saw this next phase. It is indeed phase 4, shifting more central, a little bit to the east-southeast. The edge of Quarry is a location that one of these teams can hold on to. With Quarry, you only really have 2 solid locations, north and south side of it. The south side is out of the circle, so one of these teams, Nepali Honi, grab hold of that high ground on the north side. Yes, you're putting yourself into a bit of a single-minded situation if the circle goes away from you in phase 5. Before now, it would be a solid location for one of these teams with plenty of space around them.
Ronak there on the bottom left-hand side of our screen spots out one of the players. It is Mafia from Godlike. In the midst of all this, though, one of the players from 0 Degree is down. So action happening across the plains here. Mortal. Oh dear, he's down and out. Cloak from Mayhem manages to finish the job off versus him. At Saga as well is finished by the grenade of Surya. More kills coming in there. Let's see, Vampire just going to be shooting into the blades of grass. Maybe laying out his frustration for being 16th.
Okay, so losing Mortal is not the worst thing in the world for Soul. You still have Clutch God. We saw him pop off in another couple of members of Soul ready to carry on the torch. They are inside the circle, but look at this.
Oh, look at this. Mafia trying to dodge, dart, and weave around the building, but he's instantly going to be down by the Uzi of Oasis, and it's going to be an easy clean-up there for him, shooting some more bullets into the body as well, just rubbing salt into the wounds. As Brawlers as well lose another player. Only one remaining. Only none remaining now for Brawlers as they're out in 14th. Again, Imperium, this is bad.
I'm not going to talk about it too much. You're going to wait till later because there's quite a few teams in around the southern part of the circle. You have Elementrix, you have Fnatic, you have Godlike and Mayhem chasing down Soul.
Oh, they already took out Mortal. Maybe they're going to go for more as, it's KK has a very strange angle here. He's just going to ditch here, using the vehicle to the left to dodge Viper, but maybe underneath the car, Viper could spot out his toes. Maybe the cover isn't too long. Oh, the grenade instead is perfect. It's KK down by Viper, and with that, Soul are going to make their move in. Ragaltos is going to be leading the charge here for Soul as he goes over the top of the hill. 2 of the players from Mayhem are down. It's just Reds and Viper. Spray coming out, 1 down, all down to Reds. They need to do some damage here. It's all going in favor of Soul, and they wipe out Mayhem in 13.
I want to break that down real quickly. Ragaltos crouched down, used the peak to his advantage, but more importantly, he moved. He weaved from left to right like a boxer. Fly like a butterfly, sting like a bee. Ragaltos was on top of his game in that team fight. So, like I said, with Fnatic, having a new lease of life in this first game of the day.
Throwing out some more Muhammad Ali quotes. Don't count the days, make the days count. And right now, some of these teams are going to have to, especially RIP Official, who are currently topping the board. They need that consistency. We can't see them slip on day 2.
Exactly, and then look at Elementrix. They stayed fairly quiet right now, but the circle shifts heavily to the east. The Nepali Honi, they went a little bit further ahead of the north area of Quarry, and it's paid off right now. They need to hold on to it. They've trusted the process to the east side, and all of a sudden, from the team shifting on the southwest, we actually need to focus on Megastars, trust the process. The final member is 0 Degrees, and of course, even Entity rolling in, depending on how they rotate in.
Lots of action as well towards the bottom left of our screens, which we're witnessing right now between Fnatic and, of course, Godlike. Ragaltos is down as well. I'm not sure where Soul are. They're towards the top left, actually, near Synergy and IND as well. IND actually losing a player early. Missed that one. So, in terms of kills and numbers on the board, Elementrix, Rip Official, and Fnatic with 4. Apart from that, everyone else has lost players.
Yeah, it's great to see Soul and Fnatic on top of the kill feed for now. Yesterday, they looked a little bit passive and not as strong as we've seen previously in previous tournaments, but let's see what day 2 can bring. But 0 Degrees final member trying to find out megastars.
Yeah, 1 man versus 4, but 2 of them are down. But you can see as well, TDP just going to be stealing those kill points and killing and finishing off all of these players who are down. Felt like all the work there that Blazy did, just not going to be commissioned in his name. Ghostwriter's out here, it seems.
Trust the process. We just lost him once again going down in 12th. I talked to them as well, and I'll obviously touch into that in game 2 because this action is heating up 20 minutes in.
20 minutes in. Phase 5. Players going down left, right, and center. IND losing players. Megastar losing players. Jonathan, one of the star players of this whole tournament, is down as well. They need to bring him back up.
Entity, they have the really central west line on the edge of the circle. Seoul to the north of them. You also have the members of Elementrix to the south of them. If they can keep their position strong and push teams around them back, it could be looking good for Entity.
IND Slayer with the VSS can see the players from Seoul. However, Seoul are inside the circle currently, or excuse me, the blue zone, so they can try and wait this one out just for a little bit.
We've seen the Pali Honi really connect, and they've eliminated Megastars. Oh my lord, the Nepali team looking pretty good. And then we see Poo Poo Man connecting onto a member of Fnatic.
Wait,
that was
what?
always going to be tough.
Ronak just killed himself with
What?
the grenades. Maybe he was downed when he was
Yep,
throwing it. Must have been
exactly.
that.
Yep.
Unfortunately, we don't see any assists in. IND Slayer as well will die to the zone when he was just waiting for Sol to move.
Let's see what can happen as Godlike do go down.
Godlike go out in 10th. A man, though, more like a machine as he takes down Ragaltos. That might actually be Sol. Out, no, they've still got one more player left, which is going to be Viper. Usually it was Clutch God from yesterday.
And he's in the center of the circle. It goes in his favor. He prayed to the PUBG Mobile gods. Now he just needs to stay safe and prone down.
Oh, someone who can't stay safe and prone is going to be RNG, as he's going to be taken out by Paratosh of Fnatic, who have 3 players remaining. Junior, Poopy Man, and Mr. Hyozo as well from Elementrix are safe and sound for now.
But Fnatic, they need to be very careful. They do look competent and confident of their position and holding on to it. Nepali Honi go in with the vehicle.
Nepali Honi instantly into the prone, but an easy shot there for Paratosh as he just lines up the bullets with ease. Oasis will out of the van and into the grave does go Lucky.
And that's really good because they have a second vehicle as cover. And that's really important. And that's a gift for Fnatic. But what can Alex YT do for the Pali Honi?
Oh, apparently landed an amazing grenade onto 2 of the players from Fnatic, but Scout knows where he is. This is all or nothing here for Scout. He has to win the duel right now versus Alex, as you said, jumps over with a hit by a spray, and he does it. This could be keeping Fnatic into the game to the latter stages. Ooh, one of the players from Nepal, Oni, would have heard that action.
And that was actually really bad play from Nepali, but let's kick it off.
Oh, it's actually going to be Scout to win it. We didn't see it, unfortunately, but it must have been an amazing headshot.
I don't know, but it was great play by Fnatic and, of course, Scout OP. My lord, are we seeing a new team, so to speak? Metaphorically speaking, can he get the revive?
Let's see then. Goes for the revive. He has cover as well from 2 vehicles. IND have no cover as it's been blown out in 7th. And with that, only 1 player remaining for Seoul. It's Viper. Synergy down to 1. Fnatic going to be reviving up their second player. Elementrix 3, Entity 3. Rip Official, RIP, excuse me, on 4.
And Nepali Honi distracting Fnatic, that's actually worked out pretty well for Elementrix and Entity because they've kind of kept at their own feet. And you see Jonathan from Entity really kind of using the dip to his advantage. He has a boogie if he does need to disengage, although that's always risky at this stage of the game.
Viper, he needs to sting. RIP Official here. Is it Sky and Naruto? He spots up both the players on the third person view. Goes for the spray onto 1. Can't get it though. A very effective trade there from RIP. And now they can wait, see if there's more action. Revive Naruto behind the car. And they're going to be safe and sound for now. But look at Servi. Look at Servi behind the players. He's just crawling. If he just pushes forward, he has the advantage with the hill. Can shoot down onto them. But right now, exchanging with Tempest.
Yeah, it's going to be hard for Servi. But I was expecting Viper to dance around that rock a little bit more. But he stayed in a position and it made it a lot easier for Rit to get the better of them. Yes, Servi, he does have it for now. But the second he has to exit that, he has to go downhill. The best thing Servi can do is just wait and look to heal off because he doesn't have a lot of bandages, but he does have 1 mega hit.
The Kings of Consistency are out in 5th. Legend, though, needs to become one. Instead, he will just go out quickly to the players from Elementrix. Sky trying to maybe avenge his brethren, but you can see as soon as he died, just whoop, 180'd and went around the other way. Doesn't want to exchange just yet with Elementrix.
So we see RIP Naruto thrown out a Molotov. That's just to push Elementrix away and give RIP a bit more space. But Servi, he's moved in across the road.
He has. Actually, it's all down to Sky with the DP28. He will be backed up by his teammates as well. Tempest helped out Sky. And it's going to be Synergy out in fourth. Now it's just down to RIP official, Fnatic and Elementrix.
So Fnatic scout up. He has been knocked down, but Paradox does get taken out by Junior and Elementrix into the top two.
Fnatic are out in third. One team versus another. Let's see then. Elementrix versus RIP. It's going to be a 3 versus 3 as Poo Poo Man Jr. Hyozo start to push in slowly behind the smoke grenade. Tempest as well stands up, tries to spot out where they are. Naruto healing up. He's now on some more HP. Grenade goes in, but it's going to be missed, unfortunately, for RIP.
Real quick, I'd love to see Sky get in the vehicle and actually rotate around with it and use that as protection. It will distract Elementrix and Tempest. Naruto can go out, but he gets knocked down.
Oh, knocked down indeed. Junior now with 2 of them from the DP28 as he goes for more. As Tempest tries to heal here, he's got 5 seconds to do it. It's all really down to him as Sky goes down, and this should be it. This should be the win for Elementrix as they're going to come over the hill. Tempest is going to go down, and that's it. Elementrix lose, or excuse me, they win, and they take game 1.
So RIP, they've done such a good job for the majority of that game. Remember what I said, Sky should have gotten into that vehicle.